Hello and welcome to another episode of PSA's Let's Squawk About It. I'm Sam Schaefer and I'm pleased to welcome our guests for today's episode. Sasha, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Hi everyone, my name is Sasha van der Klein. I'm a geneticist with Hendrik Genetics and I work with turkeys. And I graduated last year, joined Hendrik Genetics right after I graduated with my PhD. I'm eager to share my thoughts here on what the future is of the Poultry Science Association. So Noemi, maybe you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. I'm very happy to be here today at this station. So my name is Noemi. I'm working at SASO, which is the business unit of Hendrik's Genetics specialized in traditional poultry. I joined Hendrik Genetics 3 years ago, I think, after my master's degree. And since this year, I'm specialized in the selection of the traditional lines of SASO. Bethany, I think your turn to talk.
Hi, thank you. I'm Dr. Bethany Baker. I'm just starting out as an assistant professor in poultry behavior and wellbeing at the University of Auburn. And last year, actually the year before, 2019, I graduated from the University of Saskatchewan. And my focus is primarily on behavior, wellbeing, and using management to help birds.
Cooney, would you like to introduce yourself? Because you're joining from the other side of the world.
So I'm Coley. I actually graduated the same at the Sasha from University of Alberta, and then now I got back to Thailand for work. So I actually right now am a lecturer at the Kasetsat University at Department of Animal Science.
Wonderful. Well, welcome all of you. And as Sasha had alluded to, today we're talking about the future of poultry science and the association itself. So to start off, what seems to be one of the biggest focuses within the poultry science industry right now, and how do you feel that is shaping the future of the industry? So whoever would like to tackle that first.
Well, I think I'm the most recent graduate from our group. So for me personally, I think the sustainability of the sector and the focus on circular agriculture and sustainable use of resources, all those things, like also like societal issues that now start playing a role, like antibiotic-free production of poultry. I think those topics are kind of top of mind for me when we talk about the future of the poultry industry, if that would differ from Europe, where Noemi is located.
No, I think it's something, yes, you're right, and I join you in this sustainable approach. I think either environment, animal welfare are very important now. We talk about having animals more efficient in terms of water, in terms of food consumption, with less component dejection. I think these topics are very important. But I think as well about the animal welfare, all the issues we have now with the birds we kill in the hatcheries, after the hatcheries, the animal in cage still. So this sustainable part is really something that is very important now. And this is probably the most important topics we have to work on for the next years.
Yeah, and I'm just going to echo that. When I was first presented with this question, the first thing that came into my mind was sustainability as well, because resource usage and trying to get them more efficient, and also again looking at the consumer perspective and what they understand as sustainability, and then what we understand as sustainability and how we can intertwine them. And then a component of that was like also developing novel technologies to help with the sustainability. And then I didn't want to say welfare and well-being because that's like my little that's my area, but I do see it as becoming more important, with it just becoming a bigger and bigger field. So, and that again, it's part of sustainability, but it isn't necessarily sustainability, but I think they're very important to work hand to hand. And I think that is where the industry is going.
Yeah, and Bethany, you bring up a good point too with the customer perspective. I mean, they have their wants and needs, but at the same time, they don't understand all of this stuff that's going on the back end, that we are trying to combat the internal problems within the industry, the internal challenges. And those, I think, are things that we also hear a lot about that are impacting the industry as well.
Yeah, I think Bethany brought up a really interesting point of like, well, she's in her niche of welfare and behavior. But I think what in the future will also happen more and more is the intersections. Because as a geneticist, I'm now also on a daily basis not working on behavior and welfare and improving that in my turkeys. Whereas in the past, it was like a geneticist, a nutritionist, and a behaviorist is a behaviorist. But the crosstalk, I have a feeling, wasn't necessarily happening between them. Whereas now more and more that becomes a really important part, at least of research.
So it definitely sounds like there is collaboration that's happening more and more, and that's kind of a direction the future could take as well. More well versed in the industry overall, rather than just specific sectors.
Yeah.
For the like Asian country, so right now we kind of see the problem of like a bone issue in modern broiler production because they are growing so fast, and then we kind of see like a bone health issue, something like that. And then I think for this, maybe in the future we may try to focus on nutrition or management, or maybe right now I'm kind of see some research on raising the modern broiler in like slow growing birth type or something like this. So I think that would be one topic, maybe like what we found nowadays, and then we're gonna go for it in the future. Yeah.
So Kuni, do you mean that basically the genetics of the broiler are changing faster than the research on the management and the environment? That there's kind of this disconnect between research that happened and the genetics of the current products. They don't line up anymore. Is that what you mean?
I think like they pretty much growing so fast, and then in terms of genetic, so for example, you may be like looking at the genetic development to do something with bone and muscle growth to be like go together or something. And then maybe in terms of management, maybe nutrition or vitamin, minerals, calcium, phosphorus, yeah, something like that should be come together and then solve the problem.
It sounds kind of like what we were talking about earlier was definitely collaboration amongst the different sectors within poultry science, being rather well versed in all those different sectors rather than just specializing in one concentrated area. It's really like expanding the knowledge of the industry as a whole.
Yeah.
Moving on to a little bit about the association, PSA's journals used to be available only through membership, and now they're available through open access, so they're free to everybody, and it kind of expands the journal's reach a little bit. Looking at that member benefit and how that has shifted, what do you believe is the biggest benefit to the Poultry Science Association for you as a member now?
Well, so I can start with something. I didn't study in a university, so it was a private school in agriculture, and we didn't add a lot of interaction with the association and the Poultry Science Association or other association. And when I studied in Hendrix, or we talked about that the few days ago or a few hours ago, even with Sasha, for me it was really unclear the link between the Poultry Science Association, the World Poultry Science Association, and I was really lost. And I think this is something for new members coming, or new students coming in the sector, clarify this link and be more proactive to find people, students.
For me, the Poultry Science Association wasn't necessarily about the publications. I mean, that's what you need to do when you do your PhD. But for me, it was a community during the Poultry Science Association annual meetings. Like, the fun we had, the reason that Bethany and I got to know each other was also because we hung out at the Poultry Science Association annual meeting and had drinks together. And I think there's kind of two takes on that, right? Because as a student, membership is not very expensive, but the benefits you get are huge because you meet all these people. You meet probably your future employer at the Poultry Science Association annual meeting. And as a professional now, I kind of look at it at the other side. When I go visit the meeting again, or when I interact with people that are a member of the PSA, it's recruiting, like finding new people to work in our business. Yeah, I think for that matter, both as students and as professionals, we can still have great benefits because it's just a really good community. But to the point of Noemi, coming from the Netherlands, when I arrived in Canada, I had no idea what the difference was between the World Poultry Science Association and the Poultry Science Association, why they were important. For me, at first, it was like, okay, they provide scholarships, so that's why I'm going to sign up. But looking back at that, like, yeah, the communications around what the PSA stands for, World Poultry Science Association stands for, the differences in the end, like the open access of the journal, I don't think that will change necessarily benefits for students or professionals that they get from the membership. So
like I really like the journal now being free. I was like, oh well, great, like great, it's free, but that wasn't like the main benefit that I see from PSA either. It's really like it's in the association. It's like getting to know with other people in the field, getting to communicate them, and also just I really enjoy going to the conferences and learning what other people are doing, and then like that sparks an idea or something that you could do, and it just you get little tidbits because you're never going to fully understand it, and then you can develop contacts, and it just helps develop newer and better research.
Yeah, and that's definitely a common theme that we hear from our membership is that the networking is really, it can't be matched. And that's why we're really looking forward to being able to be in person again someday. So that networking aspect of our association can continue. Because that is, like you said, it is one of the biggest things that we can provide is that opportunity to bring all of these people together and network and really get to know each other. And the poultry science community is a pretty tight-knit community. I mean, everybody is super friendly. Everybody is super helpful. I mean, it's a unique group of people, and that's a common theme that we've kind of touched on. The next question I had was about PSA again, and we are continuing to provide new content and resources to our membership. So what other things, as we look to the future, can PSA consider doing to engage membership, to provide more resources, new content, new opportunities? What kind of things would you like to see be done as young poultry scientists?
I think that's a really difficult question because you're basically asking not necessarily to reinvent the wheel, but sort of to reinvent the wheel. Like how can we do better when we're already doing pretty great? Like from my perspective, collaboration part that was mentioned a lot of times, facilitating that in maybe ways that like speak to millennials that will now become the new generation of professors and industry professionals. During the PSA events, for example, the student part was always organized by students, right, by the hatchery. So that was really good, but maybe involving the young generation also in some of the organization, in committees that do the awards, like bring them in with the ideas that they have from their generation to make whatever is produced more appealing to younger people.
Not necessarily change something, but know your audience and involve the audience and engage them.
And one thing I have seen in the PSA annual meeting, so I think PSA tried to encourage the undergrad student to join the meeting. And then that one is good opportunity for them because they're gonna go for master or PhD, and then they kind of get involved in the poultry industry. And I think the website, like you did, Sam, I think you did really great, like for promote, for like announcement something in the website, and then we kind of get all the information we need in that platform. And I'm not too sure, like do we have what kind of like a PSA member directory or something like that?
That's something that we're always working on enhancing. So it's fairly new, the new format for the directory, but it is something we're working on enhancing and making better for our members because like we've touched on, that connection, that networking aspect of the association is really a big component to joining and being a member. So offering those avenues for networking and finding other people and getting connections made is crucial and important. Thank you guys so much for offering your perspective a little bit into the poultry science industry and our association here. Before we sign off, I do want to give each of you the opportunity to mention anything else that you'd like to mention. As young poultry scientists entering this field, if there's anything else you'd like to touch on, feel free to do so.
Yeah, for me, I think that the PSA in the next 100 years will still provide sort of the community and the platform that it has been for me during my PhD. It was just great to be part of the PSA. So yeah, I hope that definitely continues. Other things might change, the world might change, but being part of that community has just been very great. And I'm really grateful that I was able to be part of that. So yeah.
For me, I hope that this community, as I said, can be extend to other countries, and that the students in the next generation in Europe, in France, can have the possibility really to join this community and enjoy as much as you enjoy, Sasha, being linked to scientists and people in the industry. So I really hope this big community will be developed and extend to the other countries and the whole world.
For me, what do I see? Like the future of PSA, like it's, as Sasha said, it's been a great influence for both of us, I think. We've both learned a lot, and I hope it continues, it increases to really help research, bring research together, collaborative, and also become more international, more global, because the world is more global, the world is more international, we know more, it's so much easier to do that. So I feel like we should take advantage of that and really learn from each other.
Yeah, and for me, I really hope to get back like a real meeting, like after COVID things. So really hope to get back normal situation, and then I try to encourage the young generations and my colleagues and my students to get a chance to join the PSA community. It's very nice and very great platform to get a big community and sharing the knowledge and experience together.
If you're watching this video and you would like to have the opportunity to network with people like our fine guests today, we will put information in the description of this video, and you can join through the Poultry Science Association website. Thank you all for joining me today for this episode of Let's Squawk About It. You've all provided some valuable insight, and we appreciate you being on.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.